Welcome to the NIC Sports Report Podcast, Episode 2. Today, we are talking to NIC men's basketball head coach Corey Symons. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is exciting. This is great.
So let's get started off with your history in coaching and how you ended up at NIC.
Yeah, so I'm a native. I'm from Coeur d'Alene, kind of born and raised in this area. But my basketball career goes back to, I'm actually an alumni here, played here for legendary coach Rollie Williams back in the early 90s. And then I went on and played 4 years and I was on a little team that went overseas for a while. And when I came back from France, I got into coaching at Bellevue Christian High School in Seattle, Washington. The head coach had took a sabbatical, so they needed some people to fill in. So I was right out of college. We did that, and I just kind of fell in love with coaching. I came back here to Coeur d'Alene area, and I was coaching at Post Falls High School for 5 years. And then one of my high school teammates actually got the head job here, Jared Fay, who he and I played all through high school together. So he called me up and said, "You ever be interested in getting into college?" So I talked with him and talked with my wife and decided to make that jump to college. And I was his assistant here for 10 years. So I was an assistant here for 10 years under Coach Jared Fay, who's now at Missouri West Plains, another JC. And then when he left, he took the job at Southern Idaho. I had that tough decision of, do I go with him to CSI or do I stay here and kind of run my own program? And you know, it's not easy getting a head coaching job at any level, high school, college, or any level. So I took the chance and bet on myself and took over the job here, and been here 10 years now. So I've been here a total of 20 years at NIC. So and 25 in the coaching world. So I've been doing it for quite a while.
Very cool. All right. So you just finished up the 2023-2024 season, and now you're heading into your off season. What are the goals for recruiting and filling holes up in the team for next season?
Yeah, so we had a good year. We finished the year 22-10. You know, any season you could get 20 wins is a great year. So we're happy with our team, especially with that transition from NWAC to National JUCO. We were kind of a little behind the 8 ball with recruiting this class. So we were really happy with our year. With that being said, we're moving on 6 or 7 sophomores. So we got a lot of holes to fill, a lot of guys to bring in. That's really JUCO basketball in general. Every year you got to kind of rebuild your whole team. And if you're familiar with what's going on in the college world in general, that's becoming college basketball in general. It used to be just us JUCO coaches did it, but now with the portal and all these kids transferring, every coach has to rebuild their roster every year. So yeah, we're in the midst of recruiting. The portal makes it a little tough because everybody still wants to go to Gonzaga or still thinks they're going to Duke or Gonzaga. So we're kind of a little slow in the recruiting process right now. We got our fillers out. We've contacted a lot of kids, and we're in contact with a lot of kids. But we'll wait more until the end of May and even into June and some into July. But we got to bring in a whole new group. You know, we're one of the toughest junior college conferences in the country. You know, we had 3 or 4 teams in our conference ranked in the top 25 this year, with Salt Lake being as high as I think they were even number 1 for a while this year. So we're in a tough conference. So we got to get out and find really good players, and we got to do our job here in the off season to build a team. So our goals there are just kind of finding the best players available. Kind of finding ones that fit our philosophy here at NIC in the basketball world and our philosophy here with the college. You know, our NIC mission statement, and you know, kids that will be that will flourish and be successful in our school and in our community.
Very nice. So, what advice would you give any recruits that are having a hard time getting noticed?
Yeah, and that is tough. So right now is like I said, with this portal going on, it's kind of new. The last couple of years, it's kind of been new to our world, but that's hard for kids right now, is just getting noticed. You know, they say now colleges are recruiting the portal, then junior college, then prep school, then high school. So a lot of kids are getting overlooked. You know, my advice to them would be just to keep plugging away, keep working hard, get film out, send film out to lots of people, play in events. There's a lot of unsigned senior events. There's a lot of events for high school kids. You know, I have a high school sophomore now that pretty much every weekend is playing somewhere. So playing as many events as you can, get in front of coaches, get tape, get film, get that out to coaches. I will say that, in our business, we have to get good players to win, and, coaches are good at that. So if you're good enough to play in college, coaches will find you. You just got to keep getting your stuff out there as much as possible.
And then if anybody was interested in playing for NIC, how would they get in contact with you?
Yeah, all my information and my assistant Fred Brown Jr.'s information is all online. So shoot us an email. Make sure in emails, make sure that you catch our attention with some stats or your size, some game film. I get I probably get 30 emails a day. And some of them will just say, hey, Coach, I would like to play. And I don't know who it is. I don't know where they're from. So make sure you're in depth in your email, sending that to us. And just shoot us your email with film. We get quite a bit of emails. I'll be honest with you. I get a lot of emails a day. And if there's no film, we usually just move on. Mm-hmm. If there's film, we'll dive into the film and watch it and kind of see what if it's something that fits. What students have to realize too is just because you're not getting recruited by a certain college or a college that you like doesn't mean you're not good enough. Sometimes there's just fits. Mm-hmm. In the business world, if you're a business owner, you're not always in the market for a new accountant. If you already have a good accountant, you're not going to go looking for a new one. So it's the same thing in our world here. I can get a point guard that emails me, well, I have a point guard coming back, so I'm not in that market. Doesn't mean you're not good enough. Sometimes it means that there's just not an opening at that position. Mm-hmm. So stay aggressive. But yeah, they could catch us online and send all their info to me and Coach Fred, and we have a recruiting questionnaire online as well that they can fill out, and that comes directly to me and my staff.
Okay, very cool. It's a very good way to get to the next step out of high school.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would be some benefits to coming to a 2-year school like NIC?
I'm a true believer. I just got off the phone with a recruit last night, and I told him that I'm a true believer of junior college. Everybody's got their dreams of playing at the biggest level and playing Division I, and that's great if you can get there right away. I'm a big believer in junior college. I think one of the biggest benefits it gives you experience. I mean, if you watch college basketball, unless you're watching the big teams, not very often do freshmen play a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I saw some stat on ESPN. The Final Four was like 75-80% seniors and fifth-year seniors in the Final Four. So those upperclassmen get the nod, which they should at that level. It's a big benefit to come here because you get experience. You get game experience right away. You're thrown into the fire of good college basketball. Like I said, we're one of the toughest conferences in the country, so it's not like you're playing nobody. You're playing quality kids every night, and you're getting experience. So that's one benefit coming to us. Another benefit is just helping you expand on your recruitment. Some kids come here because they're getting recruited, but maybe not as much as they like, so we can help expand their recruitment. And then another one is helping them fix things that aren't ready for the Division I level. We recruit most kids that are Division I capable, kids that can play Division I. So I say if you come to JUCO to us on the men's side, you're usually got some academic stuff to get in place, or maybe you got to get a little bigger, stronger, faster, or work on a little bit more on your skill. So we can bring them in here and we can, pinpoint that and help them fix those things that Division I's were kind of concerned about coming out of high school. We can spend time here fixing those things and then help them get ready to move on to Division I.
Yeah, get all the fundamentals down first so that if you do decide to go to a Division I, you're not thrown into the, it without, the experience of having court time.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell my guys all the time, like, we run our program as close to a Division I as I can. We demand a lot of them. We have 5 a.m. workouts. We have mandatory study hall. A lot of their time, they don't have much free time. It's put together by us and our staff, so that when they do make that jump to Division I, they're used to it. I don't want them getting to Division I and going, Coach, this is tough. Mm-hmm. I want it to be tough here, so they're used to it when they get there.
Yeah, you don't want to. You have them prepared for that because, Division I, that's your one chance, and if you if you screw it up, then.
Yep, and they don't. Sometimes these kids just don't realize that, and they don't realize how much is entailed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been around the game long enough to understand, and then I'm actually learning that firsthand. Now my daughter's just finished her freshman year at Wyoming in a Division I program, a big time program, and she'll call me, Dad, I have no free time. Welcome to Division I.
Yep.
Welcome to Division I athletics.
If you want to get to the next step, you're going to have to put in that much work.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is the hardest hurdle to overcome with only having players for only 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, the hardest thing is probably developing a system that we like to run. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if you're a 4-year coach, it's like I said with the portal, it's changing now, but 4-year coaches can run systems. Like I have a buddy that runs the swing offense, and they recruit according to that system. For us, it's a little different. We recruit the best players we could get, and then my system kind of has to change yearly depending on the players that we have. Sometimes we'll be a press team and get up and down and like to get up and down and be transition, and then we've had years where we've had really good big guys where we're more of a post-oriented team. We throw the ball inside more. So we have to be kind of fluid in our coaching because our coaching philosophies and our coaching strategies are going to change according to the types of kids we can get in. We're 4-year schools. You can have your coaching philosophy and strategies, and you can say, well, that kid doesn't fit what we want to do, or that kid does, or we have a tougher time doing that. We have to go kind of get the best kids available, and then kind of that's our biggest challenge is kind of just every year we're starting from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, and Coach Nate and Louie had talked about, one of the harder parts is creating a culture because they're only here for such amount of time and then they move on. And then if you have a big group of sophomores that are moving on, then you have to renew that culture again.
Yeah, and culture is a huge thing, and this last couple of years has been a little tougher for us on building that culture. My first 6 or 8 years, we kind of had our classes separated where we'd have half sophomores, half freshmen, and we would kind of roll it over, where the freshmen would come back and they knew what the culture was and they could teach the underclassmen the culture. And we had it really going. We had it really going like that. We had a great culture, great program going for a while. And then every once in a while you just lose your whole team, and then you got to kind of start the whole thing over.
Yeah. So how has the transition from NWAC to NJCAA been?
It's been pretty smooth for me. Like I said, I've been here 20 years, so I was in I was in the National JUCO for 13 years, I believe, before we went NWAC. So I coached in that league. I coached in Region 18 for 13 years. So it's been pretty smooth for me. It was a little tougher. A couple things that were tough was the recruiting piece because of the timing. We went to, like I said, arguably one of the best conferences in the country. We went to that league with an NWAC team this year because by the time we made the change, we already had our roster built. We already had our kids on campus. So we were kind of a little behind the 8 ball there, but I'm really proud of our guys. They competed, came out. We finished 3rd in the conference. We had our chance to win. We were right in the mix. Win a couple games here and there. We had a chance to potentially win the conference. Made the playoffs, which is a huge deal. And so I was really proud of our guys coming. A lot of stuff thrown at them. When I recruited them and when I brought them in, they thought we were going to be playing Spokane and Walla Walla and Big Bend, and then they get on campus, and all of a sudden I'm telling them they're playing CSI and Salt Lake and some of the best teams in the country. So I was really proud. That was kind of one of the biggest hurdles, was just kind of the timing. But our guys came out and competed, and they worked their tails off. And nothing against the NWAC. The NWAC is a great conference. I tell people all the time when they would bring this up, I'd say, my analogy is kind of the Big Sky, the Pac-12. The Big Sky is a great league. There's nothing wrong with it. It's an unbelievable league, really good basketball, really good league. But it's not the Pac-12. It's not Oregon and UCLA and those teams. And I think that's kind of the analogy I use is the the NWAC was great. It's kind of like the big sky, and Region 18 is kind of like the Pac-12. It's the best of the best.
Yeah. Yeah. When we played the NWAC teams, they had it going, but when we played CSI, that energy in the gym, that was really cool. And it looked like the players really fed off of that energy, and it pumped them up to get that win against CSI. And
yeah, it was nice. So with the NWAC was always great in the NWAC because we always draw good crowds here at home, and we'd always get good crowds on the road because we were, for a lack of a better term, we were kind of the team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
So we would kind of fill buildings up. So we'd always have a good crowd, but I haven't seen the gym this packed for that CSI game. I haven't seen it like that in 10 years.
That was really cool.
There were a lot of people that I haven't seen in the gym for a while, come back to fill that thing up, and that was a great event. We basically sold this building out
Mm-hmm.
and beat them pretty handily. It was a good way to bring us back to the league.
Yeah, yeah, and even with the teams that you were talking about, like Salt Lake, the majority of them were very close games. They weren't blowouts. Like you guys were there.
Yeah.
It's just the way of the game. But
Yeah, we really have Salt Lake. I'll tip my hat to Coach Taylor there and Kyle and what they did. His bench was so deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had 15 Division I guys. So when we would get a little tired or foul trouble or whatever, we'd go to our bench. I loved our bench, and our bench worked their tails off. But they were going from a high major Division I kid to another high major Division I kid, which that just kind of wore on us. And you could see watching that game, we were in that game, like you said, the whole time. Then late in the game, they would just kind of stretch it out because they just had a little bit more depth than us.
Yeah, definitely. So as you look ahead to the next season, could you share a couple of the key goals you have set for the team and how you plan to achieve them?
Yeah, with our biggest thing right now is now that we're back, we've got great support from our administration here. I want nothing less than to win the league. That's my goal, is to come out and get a Region 18 championship, hopefully make another trip to Hutch, the national tournament. I think in the school's history, we've only been to Hutch 4 times. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe 2 under Coach Rolly Williams, 1 under Coach Hugh Watson, and then I took a team my second year as a head coach here. Unbelievable experience playing at Hutchinson, Kansas, playing for a national championship. So that's our number one goal, is to kind of get back to Hutch. Starts off with smaller things. When we did go to Hutch, we had a team goal of 1-0. We don't want to look too far ahead. We just want to beat the team that's in front of us, win the game that's in front of us, win the practice that's in front of us. So that's going to kind of be our goal next year, is just kind of day to day, baby steps, and then at the end of the year we can look back and go, man, we accomplished something. But our goal is, obviously to win a conference championship, try to get it back to Hutch, see if we can put ourselves in position to win at Hutch. And how we're going to get there is, me and my staff just working our tails off this summer, getting players. I always joke and tell people all the time, I'm not a very good coach, but I can recruit. And usually when you have good players, you tend to win. So a lot of our winning, a lot of our success comes in this off season, and when we're on the road. I'm doing a lot of recruiting and selling our program, selling our community, selling our institution, which is huge. So that's kind of our number one way of getting to our goals, is by getting the right players.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on here and talking to us about it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you doing this. This is great, just to get the community and people to, to see NIC athletics as a whole, and kind of get an inside looks. This is awesome.
Yeah, we're hoping to do some more post-game interviews and get this all set up so we can get more perspective on the college and then the athletics.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And just know, I don't know if you watched the tournament this year, just no timeout interviews. You see that? That was kind of...
Yeah, no.
I don't know how those coaches could be in the middle of a game and walk out of a timeout to take an interview. That's pretty tough. But
yeah. No, it'll just be post.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Corey.
Yep, thank
you. Good
you.
luck with everything.
Appreciate it.